What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. I saw a comment on my channel. I think this is one that requires us to pretty much walk through what an educational perspective will look like when we're trying to ascertain something that is being claimed. This user writes and says, "Until I see the PS games on Xbox Ally, I ain't worried. Sony has to authorize that Xbox and Steam can't make the decision because they didn't sell these games to Steam. It's a 70-30 deal. Sony owns the rights." Now, this person might be using speech to text because they left some other comments. I have to say, one of the crazy things that this whole conversation has actually revealed to me is that a lot of people are not quite aware how PC gaming works. In fact, the same user, and shout out to you, I'm not, no disrespect in this regard. I'm just pointing out that you saying Xbox can't play those games. How? It's a 70-30 deal with Steam. If Xbox somehow gets those games on an Xbox console and sets them up as Steam, they could be sued because PlayStation has to authorize for those games to be on an Xbox console. Now, here's what I think you're missing in terms of this whole thing. Those PlayStation games are on Windows via Steam. Wherever Steam runs, those games will run. For instance, those games run on a Steam Deck, and a Steam Deck is not Windows, but it has Steam. So when you connect your Steam device, and let me show you this because I think, again, like I said, a lot of folk don't know this stuff. When you connect your Steam device, right, to Steam itself or a device you want to use on Steam, it would highlight that particular device based on the unique ID. So, for instance, all my Steam devices are Windows devices. So when you look at my Steam, it says, number one, look on the right side of the screen. Everybody, avert thine eyes to the right. Look at my mouse. Follow it over here. I show you only halfway because this thing not only shows you the device, it shows you the location where the device is. So I don't want to show you that part because I don't want to NDA myself. It says PC client, Steam desktop, and then it gives you a unique ID number. Another PC with another Steam client, another PC with another Steam client. Hey, those of you that say I'm an Xbot, you have no idea what you're saying. Get out of here. Another Steam client, but in this case, this is a tablet. Another Steam client with a Steam Deck, Steam with a mobile device, my iPhone, and then Steam with a web browser. Now, do you know what device that tablet is? Take a guess. It's my Rogue Ally X. And because Windows gives it a unique identifier, it reads it as a tablet. When the Xbox Ally X is actually launched, it will read that device as a tablet. Whatever unique ID is given to that particular device is going to be assigned by Windows. Also, there is no way Steam gets access to this. I said Steam PlayStation gets access to this kind of information unless, of course, Xbox says, oh, this is an Xbox console, but if they're going to be putting Windows on it, it's going to basically read it as some unique device. And Xbox could choose to name that device desktop. They could choose to name that device station. They could choose to make that device Magnus or whatever the flip they want. But even PlayStation themselves are not interested in going ahead to block money from going into their bank accounts. I'll show you the financial piece to that as well. So I'm showing you now, first of all, from the technological side as to how are they going to be able to tell if Xbox basically makes all of those Windows devices show up as desktop because they're all registered as Windows devices. How are you going to know? You can't tell. So it's basically trying to find a needle in a haystack if you decide that if PlayStation decides that's the way they want to go, which they won't decide. But I'm just basically going to say, oh, maybe you were the head of PlayStation and you were hunting down these Xbox consoles that have Steam. Where are they? Where are they? You won't be able to find them. That's literally what I'm just showing you. Now, here's the other part. And this was supposed to be in a separate video, but I thought, why not just join them in one? Nib95 posted something. He said, $175 million is no paltry amount. But if we go by PlayStation's own US dollar currency average, multi-platform PlayStation game sales accounted for $175.2 million, or just 2.7% of its $6.48 billion total revenue in fiscal year 2025 Q1. So Nib95 is actually claiming that, yeah, the third-party sales of PlayStation software is a measly 2.7%. Now, if I give you context as to how important that 2.7% is, that's also going to be the second piece that at least will try to go ahead and convince you that anybody who is not giving you the full picture is not helping you. Let me show you something that you might have missed out on in this conversation that even lends more credence to the fact that PlayStation is happy to let Xbox do them a solid by giving Xbox gamers access to Steam to then get these PlayStation games. So now PlayStation doesn't need the PR, right? Of, oh, well, we put our game on Xbox. No. Xbox went ahead and put Steam on there, so it's Xbox. And you PlayStation fanboys that like to bury your heads in the sand, I'm not talking about you who left the comment, would then say, well, it's because it was Xbox. PlayStation never willingly would have done that, but if push came to shove, they would have. So they need to basically send Xbox, and many of the execs are going to send Phil Spencer a gift in confidence. You're just not going to know about it. And that's an outlandish claim. I'm just making that up, guys. Now, here is the financial piece that is the big context. In this fireside chat, June 13th of this year, PlayStation's VP in finance said that they're targeting trying to maintain or reach a goal to PlayStation, for Sony anyways, to reach their 10% margin goal that they're trying to get. I just jumbled my words. It's been a long day, guys. But you get what I mean. They're trying to raise Sony's operating profit margin and some of its targets to 10%. Now, do you know what it's going to take based on their numbers for them to get to 10%? It's going to take at least $1 billion in pure profit, estimated. I ran some calculations on Copilot. What I did was I fed Copilot Sony's financials. I said, here's all of their numbers. Here's their revenue. By the way, if you're looking for that 10%, you should have just seen it. You can quickly scratch the video 10 seconds back and you'll see the 10 even in the translation that's actually put there. Right? And I said, okay, Sony's trying to raise its operating margin to 10%. How much would Sony need to pretty much raise this particular operating profits that it's looking for by 1%? Each percent was estimated to be around $300 million. And that's profit. That's not revenue. That's what the Copilot model actually put together in terms of its calculations. Right? So when people say this, that PlayStation is going to say no to free money, you're kidding me, right? Because that free money that's coming in is based on a game where its porting costs, development costs, marketing costs have already been made back, recovered, and anything else in terms of sales is just pretty much adding icing on the cake. So when someone says, oh, I'm waiting for those Xbox consoles, to play Spider-Man because Sony's going to block it, I think you're actually joking, or maybe you're trying to pull my legs, because why would Sony, who's needing at least $1 billion or more in profit, as long as costs stay the same and they don't have or incur any more losses or incur major expenses, why would they go ahead and block a source of income that they did not have to lift a finger to acquire? Why would they do that? Why? It's like saying, let me give you another example. Let's just say, I don't stream, right? I don't stream much. And some people have said, hey man, we'd love for you to stream. We want to support your channel. We want to donate. We want to join and all that. And I'm like, man, guys, I apologize. I don't stream. And, no worries. Give the money to charity. Your views are already great to me. But then they find a way, right? And say, no, we're going to go ahead and mail VG a check or something. I'm not going to rip that check in the mail. I'm not going to take the check and rip it and say, I told you I don't stream. I'm going to say thank you. That's what I'm going to say. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know how people can say that when if you apply that same scenario to they themselves, they'll see how outlandish it is. But somehow they want to apply the exact same standard to PlayStation. It's absurd.